So the Gemara in Masechet Bava Metzia, page 32a, it has a debate between three Rabbanim, Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Yossi. So they say, who's your rabbi? So Rabbi Yehuda says, who's your rabbi? Your rabbi is the one that taught you Divrei Chokhmah. What's Divrei Chokhmah? The one that teaches Gemara. That's your rabbi. Rabbi Yossi says, no, it's not Divrei Chokhmah. It's the one, meaning Divrei Chokhmah, meaning the things of wisdom. Things of wisdom, the Gemara says Divrei Chokhmah, what's things of wisdom? The one that taught you Gemara. So then Rabbi Yossi says, no, it's not the one that taught you Gemara, but rather the one that taught you Torah. What does it mean, Torah? You have, let's say, 100% knowledge. Whatever your knowledge is, it's 100% of your knowledge, right? Now, you didn't learn 100% of your knowledge, most likely from one rabbi. You usually learned it from, let's say, 2, 3, 4, 5 rabbis. Whoever taught you the most out of those 3, 4, 5 rabbis. So if let's say you have 5 rabbis, 40% you learned from 4 of them, and 60% you learned from your main guy, your main rabbi. That main one, that's your rabbi, Rabbi Yossi says. But then Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes says, no, we learned from David HaMelech. Who's your rabbi? Anyone that taught you even a single halacha. And from there we learn anyone that teaches real Torah, not Smurf's Torah, real Torah, according to what Chachamim say, according to what HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, he's considered a rabbi. The smicha, as far as getting a certificate, is only something that's a relatively recent invention. It's a recent invention in order to give significance to leaders, in order to make the communities respect rabbis, but also in order to make sure that the people that call themselves rabbis have some basic form of knowledge and not just calling themselves rabbis because they want a job. So they did create a smicha that, in America you have certain types of tests that you have to take in order to get a smicha. In Israel it's a completely different type of way of acquiring a smicha. Needless to say, there is a smicha process, but as far as a real smicha, as far as to be a rabbi, according to the Torah, it's a Moshe Rabbeinu gave it to Yeshua ben Nun. That doesn't exist anymore. The other form of smicha is simply if you teach Torah. That's what the Gemara says is the smicha that will always exist. Anyone that teaches Torah is considered a rabbi. As far as having a certificate on the wall, or something that, let's say says that you have a certain base of knowledge, that exists also, but that's not from the Torah. That's more of something that's become more of part of our tradition over the last few hundred years, which is a good thing to have, simply because it helps understand who and what and where this person, what kind of knowledge he has. Especially in today's world, where you have a lot of people that don't know anything, but yet they have a Bet Knesset. And some people, have a certificate, but they don't actually use it. So it's important to know that who you're dealing with. I'd say that we still have to go to the Gemara, which is to go and figure out what is he actually saying. Is what he's saying according to the Torah, or is his opinion? If it's his opinion, whether he has a smicha or not is irrelevant. If all he talks about is his opinion, doesn't make a difference whether he has a smicha or not. Why? He's pretending to be Moshe Rabbeinu. But if he's telling you what the Torah says, then it also doesn't matter if he has a smicha. Why? Because all he's doing is repeating what Torah says. What does Torah says? He's telling you what Rashi says. He's telling you what Rambam says. He's telling you what Moshe Rabbeinu says. Then it's actually irrelevant what he says. Why would I like for him to have smicha or not? If I need a specific skill that smicha verifies that he has. For example, if he's a shochet, I'm not going to have just anybody slaughter my animals. I want someone that's an expert, that's biki, an expert in slaughtering. So I want to know that he got training to be, to do butcher, slaughter the animals in a kosher way. Not if you just tell me, no, I did it a few times. No, I want to know that he did it. How do I know? If he has a smicha, it says, I have an expertise in this trade. Or if he's doing chuppah and kiddushin. The chuppah and kiddushin, people think it's simple. Anybody that does a few blessings, they can do it. Big mistake. Big mistake. To do chuppah and kiddushin, you have to be an expert about the halachot of chuppah and kiddushin. One time, I had a student who told me that he's getting married. I said, Mazal Tov. And then he told me bad news. What did he tell me? He told me that a certain rabbi was going to do his wedding. And I asked him, well, is this rabbi biki, and is he an expert in chuppah and kiddushin? He goes, well, he did many weddings. I said, I didn't ask you if he did weddings. I asked you, is he an expert? Is he an expert in doing weddings? He said, well, I already spoke about it a few times, and he said, he could do it, and he did other weddings. I said, I didn't ask you that. Again, is he an expert? Does he have a smicha that he's an expert? He has certification as an expert in doing chuppah and kiddushin. He said, I don't know if he's an expert. I don't know if he has a smicha. I said, okay, so let's start. Let me ask you a few questions. Did he ask you about your divorce? He says, no, he doesn't know if I'm divorced or not. I said, okay, you're not allowed to use him. Why? That's the first question you have to ask a person. Why? If you are never gonna get, you're not allowed to get married. If he didn't ask you whether you're divorced or not, and you already know this guy for 3-4 years, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Why? He's going to read you from a siddur. You can get a Palestinian to read you from a siddur. You don't need to be a rabbi for that. No, you need to know whether you're allowed to marry these two people. Did he ask you about your wife being a convert? Did he ask you about your wife whether she's divorced? Did he ask you all these different things? No, this guy's annoying. He knows how to read from a siddur. I'll get your Palestinian from Hamas to read for a siddur. They have to be an expert. Why? Because if he marries you and you're not allowed to be married, you have a very, very serious problem on your hands. If she, for example, never got a get, you're with her, it's Esed Ish, no Olam Haba. So people need to know that there are certain things you need to have a smicha for. There's certain things you don't need to have a smicha for. Needless to say, if somebody has it, it's not a bad thing, it's definitely a plus. If they don't have it, it doesn't necessarily cancel them out either. It all depends on what are they doing. If they're teaching Torah, smicha doesn't necessarily matter that much. But if they're doing a specific trade, then you need to know that they have the smicha to actually perform that trade.